Okay, hi guys, welcome back to another comparison. This is going to be my second comparison. If you didn't already see the ThieAudio Rai Penta versus the Dunu Zen, you should go watch that video. If you're new to the channel, please go and subscribe. I'm going to try and do as many of these as possible, and I'm going to take your feedback. So if you're subscribed, leave a comment down below and say like, I want to see this versus this directly, or this versus this. Or, you know, throw in this as well, Mezi audios, campfire audios, whatever. Basically, I'm going to try and do this series as me making a decision for my purchasing needs. That's opposed to me just doing a review and telling you like my opinions. I'm going to give you more of an explanation why I prefer one over the other. It's not going to be an easy thing to do because the state of the headphone market right now is fantastic if you're a buyer. There's lots of options, and today we're going to be focusing on earphones, earbuds, IEMs at the $500 price point. Now there's a lot more on the market. This is by no means a definitive guide of what is on the market. This is just, I've got 4 earphones sitting on my table right now, and I thought, you know, there's 2 different driver technology, or these are 1 driver technology, this another, and this another, all similar price points, all very different earphones. So let's go through it and let's talk about what the earphones are, then we'll go into the packaging, accessories, the build quality, the design, comfort, and of course the sound quality, and then we're going to talk a little bit about value for money and where your money is going and what would potentially be a good purchase for you, or why you might want one over the other. So the earphones I have today are the ThieAudio Excalibur, Dunu EST 112, Fiio FH7, and the Kiwi Ears Orchestra. These are all in the same sort of price point. I think these are $529, $479, around about $479 and $500. In terms of technology, this is a triple hybrid, meaning that it has EST electrostatic drivers for the highs, balanced armatures for the mids, and a dynamic driver for the lows. Same design with this, I believe, or is this one? This one's, yeah, this is electrostatic, balanced armature, and large dynamic diaphragm. This one is a more traditional hybrid. This is balanced armature and dynamic driver, and then this one is just straight out balanced armatures. This has 8 balanced armatures per side. So in talking about the differences, we'll get into that in a little bit. Just now I just want to go over the packaging. Out of these, the Fiio is by far the best packaging. Fiio have really stepped their game up, and you have to excuse this has been in storage, so it's a little bit dusty, but really nice sleeve, picture of the earphones on the outside, just high quality materials. Even this box has sort of got a leather-esque texture to the cardboard on it, and then when you open it up, gorgeous presentation. If we look at the ThieAudio, very similar. You have the sleeve, which is going to be a nightmare to take off on camera. But there we go, similar sort of idea. Nice, similar feeling box, presentation box, but this time without the texture on it. And on the inside, it should come to you like this. And again, very nice presentation. And I actually believe there might be a paper bit missing that I've not actually put back in there. Dunu, also very nice presentation. As always, a little bit more consumerish on the outside, rather than the other 2 are going for this luxury premium finish. Another good textured box with stunning presentation, and again jewellery style box, really like that. And the least favourite of my packaging here is the Kiwi Ears, which by no means is bad. I kind of like the font that they've used there, and nice little glimpse at the earphones on the inside. So if we go into accessories, what I gotta say is these 3 fantastic on the accessories. Dunu more so. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So we're going Dunu, Fiio, ThieAudio, and Kiwi Ears in terms of accessories. I'll just show you what you get in between all of them. The big one on the Dunu, and what puts it way ahead of the rest, are the cables that they include. They include this adapter system where you can pull there and you can change any of these jacks. So this gives you a 4.4mm balanced, 2.5mm balanced, and a 3.5mm standard headphone jack. Super useful if you just want to not change your entire cable. You just change the adapter and you can use it with a different source depending what the output on your source is. The case is super nice. It's very similar to what you get on the Campfire Audio earphones, and you get a ton of tips, jack adapters, cleaning tools, that sort of stuff. Tip selection is fantastic. They use real comply tips and real spin fit tips, which I really like, and a little cleaning cloth for them there. So here, the big one that just puts it ahead, and you get this really nice little caddy of tips, which just gives you plenty of options for getting a good fit. The biggest thing though is the adapter system, which just makes them, this added little bit of value for money. I'll put that to the side. Next one we'll look at ThieAudio. ThieAudio, good quality, a little bit more generic. You get the cleaning cloth, which I like. You get the earphones with a really nice cable, really nice cable. Quality of the cable I think is up there. It is actually, I prefer the cable to the Dunu cable, but I just prefer the system on the Dunu cable more. The carry case is a Pelican style case, which I really like. They give you a decent amount of tips and good quality tips, and then they give you branded adapters for 4.4mm and 2.5mm comes on the thing is standard, and the 3.5 adapter. So it's more traditional adapters rather than the system. So you still have that capacity to use these earphones with the other source devices, but it's just not as streamlined as the Dunu system. If we put this one to the side and we bring out the Fios, I'm going through this quite fast, so stay with me. Beautiful presentation. You have this little tube which comes with the custom ear tuning things that you take the adapters off the end of it, and it allows you to tune the sound a little bit more. So you get more tuning options. As you can see, this has the best layout of the tip selection. It's kind of similar in terms of Dunu's amount of tips, but the way that it's spread out and sort of actually tuned, these are all very different. And it says vocal, bass, and these actually do make a difference. It does actually make a difference where you can hear different tuning depending on the tips. So tip rolling really is a thing. The case is lovely little leatherette case, and on the inside you actually get a second case, which is fantastic. And on the inside of that, like Russian nesting dolls, you get this really nice little cable tie and a little cleaning tool. So Fiio and Dunu by far in the lead right now. The cable on the Dunu is not as nice as the ThieAudio. I would say it's not as nice as the Dunu, but it's still up there with premium cables. There's no complaints there. Kiwi Ears, you get marketing bump in the top, and I'm going to drop the earphones by accident. We'll do them first for design. Really nice case on this one, little leatherette thing, and a really nice copper cable. So the only one doing the copper cable. Really like that. And in terms of extras, you don't get a lot. That's my only gripe with this, is that you only get a few earplugs, and they are not very good quality ear tips either. And obviously you might have noticed that we only just have the option of standard 3.5. Additionally, this is the only one that I believe is using, no, the ThieAudio also uses 2-pin adapters, depending on what your preference is, how that might be. So in terms of the accessories, I'm going to have to give it to Dunu just because of that cable, and then I'm going to call it a tie between the ThieAudio and the Fiio. The Fiio has a very comprehensive set of accessories, as does the ThieAudio. I slightly prefer the ThieAudio cable on the Excaliburs. Let's have a look at the actual earphones, and to do that I will remove one of each from every box. So let's go ahead, we'll grab the Fiio, or Fiio, whatever you want to call it. Grab one of the Dunus, off camera as well. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. So, ThieAudio, Kiwi Ears, and I'm going to go ahead and grab me a Dunu here as well, if you bear with me. So here we have all the earphones laid out. You can see that they are a similar size. They're all multiple driver earphones, so it's going to be different from something with just a single balanced armature. This is you know, it's a sort of byproduct of putting so many drivers in the earphones that you're going to have less space, so you're going to have to make the housings bigger. In terms of the design, this is on the left that you have the ThieAudio, and on the right you have the Dunu EST 112. On the right here you have the Fiio FH7, and on the left the Kiwi Ears Orchestra. These two over here are resin, these two are metal. Between the two resin ones you have the Kiwi Ears have decided to go with the all resin body, whereas the ThieAudio ones have the metal nozzle fused to the end of it. I actually prefer that design because I think it adds a little bit more robustness. If you drop this on a hard surface versus this is going to hold up a lot better. In terms of fit and finish, they're both beautifully made. I would say that the more premium look goes to the ThieAudio in this case, just because of its beautiful design faceplate with that mother of pearl on the left and the sort of resin set glitter on the right. I think they're a really good looking set of earphones. The two things to consider here are that both of them are flush mounted 2-pin connectors, which is definitely not my preference, just because I feel like when they're flush mounted, they're more prone to problems with water getting in, water ingress and stuff, as well as more prone to breaking the 2-pin connectors. On these, they're both protruded MMCX. These are actually very, very similar housings. The only difference being really sort of the length, that these extend further into the ear than the Fiio, but both metal construction and super well made. In terms of looks, I think I'm going to have to choose the Fiio FH7 and the ThieAudio, followed by the Dunu, and at the bottom the Kiwi Ears. These just look like any sort of universal resin earphone. These, you know, Dunu have always had the problem, apart from with the Zen, of looking a little bit too industrial. These are better, but I think with this grey, it kind of saddens it a little bit, whereas these two look really special, and I would have a hard time choosing between these on pure aesthetics. Really like the colour scheme that they've got going on here, as well as this wave pattern. In terms of comfort, they're all super comfortable. The only thing I would say is that these are a little bit heavier than the rest, and these are a little bit bigger than the rest, but for me, with medium-sized ears, I have no problem, and I would happily use any of them. Now, sound quality, probably the most important thing, because they're so close with all the other facets. The way they're going to present is super different. On the left here, I've put the Dunu and the ThieAudio. These two are tribrid earphones, so that means that they have electrostatics, they have balanced armatures, and they have dynamic drivers. The reason that you want to, or the theory behind wanting to create these different hybrid driver designs, is that Electrostatics move very, very fast, and they're very, very thin and very light, and they're good at producing high notes, whereas the low end of electrostatics in their own form are just not going to be able to move that sort of quantity of air. The advantage of taking these three different driver types, like if you think about the characteristics of where each one show their strengths, electric statics typically show their strengths in the highs, balanced armature show their strengths in the mids, but then lack that ability to drive bass, and dynamic diaphragms can move a lot of air and replicate sub-bass properly, but they tend to struggle at the top end just because they're not as fast as something like an electrostatic or a balanced armature. So there's a lot of good thinking behind this tribrid mentality that's going on right now. Before the electrostatics became popular, the tradition was to go for a balanced armature and dynamic driver hybrid earphone, and that was taking the bass qualities of the dynamic driver in combination with the balanced armatures, and you would usually have, like in this one, I believe it's a dynamic driver and 4 BA, so you would probably have 2 BAs handling the mid-range and 2 handling the highs, and balanced armatures typically do very well in the highs, so you can see the logic there. Then you have something more traditional, and more traditional in the sense that this is what a lot of companies like JH Audio and so on have done in the past, is cram a lot of balanced armatures. So to compensate for that lack of air movement in the low end, you can actually put more drivers. So for example, in this one, you could have 4 for the bass, 2 for the mids and 2 for the highs. I don't know exactly what the configuration of it is, but the full spectrum has been handled by one driver type. And each one of these sounds very good. In terms of what I think are the best sounding ones, by far, I think it's these. I would put these and these maybe here and here. And it's hard to say. I would put these all equal. I would put this one at the top and then these 3 equal, just for different usage cases. So this one has fantastic response right across. This is an energetic, fun, exciting sounding earphone. It's got sparkly treble, it's got pumping bass, it's got really, really good bass response. But most of all, with that electrostatic driver, you have unbelievable detail retrieval, and this sort of 3D depth of presentation to the sound that puts it really, really different than say these. This has that quality, but these are noticeably better, better tuning wise. These are fun, engaging, exciting. If you listen to EDM, hip hop, rap, even rock and stuff, like the soundstage on these is fantastic. The 3D presentation is unreal. The imaging, detail retrieval, these punch well above their weight. These are the ones that punch well above their weight, but you're lacking that metal body construction that some people might prefer. That you might not like the design of this. You might feel that like ThieAudio and the Asian companies tend to like, is this going to be replaced in a few years? Whereas this one's been around for a few years. Going on to the next tier that I would say, sorry for hitting the camera there. The next tier, you have 3 different ways of presenting the sound. This has that 3-dimensional crisp treble that presents itself very strange and very different from traditional earphones, much like this one does. You get the benefit of all 3 drivers on this, and it creates this open, crazy like soundstage presentation type thing. This is more of an accurate neutrality. There's still like warmth across this, and this is very well tuned, but in terms of the extension on the top end, it doesn't go as far, but it's beautifully tuned. This is like a fun, neutral sounding earphone. This is got that hint of warmth. It doesn't have that EST characteristic, but you might like that. And then you have this, which is sort of balanced neutrality. This is 8 balanced armatures, and it doesn't have that impact on the bass, but what it has is wonderfully detailed, rich textured bass. Like when people talk about bass, it's not all about how hard you can hit, it's about the sort of way that it reproduces the sound, the nuances that are retrieved from that. And the bass has that. The bass has levels to it. You know, bass has reverberation, it has the way it decays and stuff, and this is a very detailed bass, whereas all the others have more of an impact. Not saying that there's not the detailed bass there, but there's just more of an impact coming through just purely from the volume of air that the other ones are able to move. So in terms of ultimately what you're going to be asking is, which one would I want and why? Well, first of all, if you gave me any one of these earphones, I would be over the moon. These ones are all around $500, all of them. These three, I think, are worth $500. These three are all $500, $500, $500, and you told me that was the price, and I listened to them. I absolutely would believe you, and I would be like, yeah, they're worth $500. These ones are around $500. I think they punch a little bit higher. I think they even sound, I've been picking them up a lot, and I've been picking them up there with my Andromedas, which are like 1,000. And not my Andromedas, my Dorados. These are really, really cool, sort of on a level with the Fearless Audio Roland, maybe actually slightly better than the Fearless Audio Roland, and maybe do a direct comparison between those two. I think these ones punch above its weight in sound. These ones all sound fantastic for the sound. In terms of accessories, so you're losing a little bit of value here, you're gaining a little bit here and here. Build quality, again, you're getting a little bump here, and this one's down. So I think this is sort of structurally what you're looking at. Between these two, I would just decide whether or not you want that electrostatic driver. But then remember, with these, you're getting that incredible Dunu cable system, which is just a joy to use if you have multiple sources like me. So I would put that one slightly there just because of the cable. And yeah, that's it. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's my opinion. Let me know down below what you would prefer. Let me know if you own one of these, and let me know if you want to see something compared to something else. These comparisons are just purely meant for fun. This is what I would do, which one I like personally, and this is not saying that these are definitively better. You all have your own ears, you all have your own ways of listening to music, you all have your own sources, DAP stacks, and yeah, I just think this is a little bit of fun and something that we can keep going in the future. So in my opinion, that's the ranking for these ones. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and you want more, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.